All right, here's a question for you. Do you recognize this or this sort of thing? I asked that question several months ago to a group of men, and one of the guys said, that thing just isn't all that familiar to me. And I thought to myself how typical or how stereotypical that answer is. I mean, if you're like me, you open up the box and you pull out the items in it and you just go to work. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten halfway through and realized there's extra pieces there and I don't know where they go. Or maybe the item doesn't operate. And then I pick up that piece of paper out of the box. And then I begin to look at it and realize, oh, if I had started with this, I could have avoided all the problems that I'm having now. And I thought about things like this and where they come from. There was an engineer or a designer or somebody that knows a lot more about this than I do that wrote this so that I would know how to put it together, so that I would know how to start it, so that I would know how to operate it and keep from ruining it or destroying it. And as I look at this, I'm reminded of God. Because God is the ultimate engineer, the ultimate designer. He's designed all of life. And He also has given an instruction manual. And I think about all the instructions that He gives for the things that He's designed. The marriage relationship between me and my wife, the relationship between me and my children as a father, the relationship I have with my employer. And I realize that there's an instruction for all aspects of life. And that if I start with His instruction manual, then I can really enjoy life in the way that He intended for life to be enjoyed. And this instruction manual tells me that He's most pleased when I enjoy life in the way that it was intended to be enjoyed. But I've done the same thing with this that I often do with those items in the box. I just jump in and I begin to move forward without thinking about it. And sometimes I make a mess of things. And then I look back and think, if I'd only started with the instruction manual, how much better things would be now. And the good news is that no matter how much of a mess I make out of things, it's not the end of the world. As long as I'm drawing breath, as long as the sun comes up in the morning, there is another chance. I can open up His instruction manual and I can start over again. And the reason I can do that is because Jesus came from heaven to earth and died on the cross, rose up from the grave, and gives me another chance at doing life the way that God intended for life to be done. And when I do that, then I become the husband I'm supposed to be, the employee, the employer, the neighbor, the father that I'm supposed to be, and enjoy life in the way that it was intended to be enjoyed. And God is pleased, and everything would go well. So consider these words and be encouraged.